gut instinct sometimes with lineups. You look at them, you watch them play a bit, and you just go, this is never going to work. I can't see how these individual pieces are ever going to make anything happen. I'm really getting that with this Fnatic lineup, but I desperately, desperately hope I'm wrong. And of course, Inferno is going to be our first battleground to try and see if maybe, just maybe, Fnatic can make something happen here.
Keeping my fingers crossed. An Inferno map that I never get to see anymore. It feels like so many teams have shied away from it, but we're going to be kicking it off here. I like the aggression that we're seeing towards mid here. They're actually taking a lot of space, but unfortunately, everyone is going to be missed as they head down Banana early on.
It's a fairly simple setup. It's a bomb it into the B-bomb site, drop the util, and that is pretty much exactly what we're going to get. An early flashbang, a start of a warning for OG. Prison and Fiku in pretty decent spots, but again, that 3-man stack towards the A. So you get in the wrong place, and this feels impossible. One pop flash is all the Julies have got, and it's all they're going to get. Body with a clean headshot. Fiku doing the best he can, but it's a quick trade down. And at this point, I mean, 3v4 retake, I'm not even seeing a kit on the board here, Affinity. It does not feel good.
It does not. They were just so far away, and as you said, it's an unfortunate matter. Wrong site, wrong time. They can try go for this, but as the smokes come on through as well, everything just gets infinitely harder for them. They are going to try round this corner here. The crossfire is so well established, however.
I mean, how do you even start to break this one down? You can see Buzz is looking for a shot. He's looking for an angle, but as you said, the crossfires are there. They're really cleanly locked, although Modo has decided he wants to have something to say about it. If he had a kit, you'd really back him at this situation, but just the time for that swing from Afro. He knows there's a full 10 seconds. They gets off the bomb. It's a clean enough headshot. Fnatic get their pistol on the board. I do think that potentially, we didn't really get to touch on it, but that one X factor on the OG lineup, Modo feels like he's got the potential, and we saw it a little bit in the 3D Max game. We saw a little bit of the Matisse versus Gravity, that's the one. And it really did turn into sort of those two youngsters just going hammer and tong at each other. So potentially, maybe, just maybe, if Modo can get online like he very nearly did in that pistol, we could still have something to say about this series.
Absolutely. I like the scout coming out here as well, but unfortunately is just going to be forced straight away. And that HE going to follow up as well. Not going to be re-peeking that anytime soon. Actually, leading heavily over towards A, they've taken a lot of space, push bit up towards Banana, create that tension, and actually just evacuate. And they've actually managed to pull Modo over towards B as well, leaving that A site vulnerable.
Double apartment setup. It's a brave call, and you can understand it with MP9s in hand. But again, when you rotate that third man off, this setup becomes so vulnerable to just book it up to the A site. Although Fnatic playing it relatively cautiously, a slow approach, working out through long. They've given up a pick in the apartments, and if maybe, just maybe, the CTs were a little more inclined to rotate in, this one could still have some legs to it. The problem is we're still not seeing the rotate, and the timing starts to get so nasty here. flameF doing what he does best, cleaning up house. Nexius, well, he gets the 1-for-1, and yeah, it's just solid enough. A 4v3 retake with 2 Deagles on the board. At least they've got a kit this time. But again, they just needed to be here maybe 5 seconds sooner, look to disrupt that plant a little bit earlier, get something going, because Nexius now, he's a little bit stuck with 2 players inside of the site, body well established in towards the pit. No Molotov to really clear this out. The HE will go in, but it's not going to do any real damage. And now those Deagles just charging in. Crizzen doing what he can. Does well to even get one, but quickly mopped up before it gets too sketchy.
Absolutely, and just going to be trying to save that scout. Not worth the fight. Got smoked out in library there, and the HE taking him down to 5. There was no chance for him to really engage in that fight at all. But it's something that I've noticed already, and I'm wondering if this is going to be a theme throughout the whole of the map, is that Fnatic always look like they have the upper hand and that they're playing well, but OG's bringing it a lot closer than is comfortable. And like they're doing surprisingly well as well, and a lot more than they should be against Fnatic.
You'll start to notice this more and more. I mean, I'm already getting some sort of very similar signs to the previous game against 3D Max. It's stuff like the isolated peek into the apartments, like the 1v1 just straight up peek into the apps. flameF going out on his own and then getting late traded 1-for-1. And it essentially leaves Fnatic in a 3v4 situation there where if it's not pistols and there's actually some rifles on the OG side, you'd really back them to make that retake stick. It's sort of the theme that you're going to see the more you watch Fnatic play. There's some nice ideas, but they tend to get just a little too individualistic and try and push things, rely on that individual talent perhaps a smidge too much, and it does leave them vulnerable. This one, of course, I mean, you can rely on individual talent just about as much as you want here because there's just not enough firepower on the OG side of things to really get anything done at all. Bomb will go down. Maybe an exit kill or two here would be good. Nexius is thinking about being cheeky with it, and he does manage to nab his kill. Blame F. It's only the Mac 10, unfortunately, that goes down. But it's not a bad end result as Crim starts to mop up the remaining pieces here. A couple of kills, it's not too shabby at all for OG.
No, it's not. It's good that they did that. I was surprised Nexius managed to get a kill disrespecting the smoke in that way. But as we said, a lot better than we'd expect them to do. And fnatic, it's going to cause them some problems as well because they're not really able to build up as much economy as you'd like to see in the background with losing so many people each round. And it's been so close with OG at a loss and weakened on the armory side of things. Now that they've got the full weapons, Modo on the AWP, better sort of rifles across the board, more utility, you know, this is the round I think maybe we'll see. I think that Molotov might not have been landing its intended mark there. Buzz challenged first. Matty's how I'm going to deal with that. Nexius with the Molotov to try put some distance between them. But it is just going to be a band-aid on the overall issue here. They've rotated someone over across as well.
That's a tough opening pick to give up, and then a second follows, and Fiku, I mean, he is absolutely stuck here. Flashed off, desperately trying to get inside of the site to give himself some protection. Nexius has done well, picked up one, actually managed to double his account on the A hit. So again, just a little bit splintered from fnatic. You've got a couple of players pressing the issue over towards A, 3 trying to press on B against 1. Fiku is completely isolated and still is, but Nexius is able to grab 2. And I mean, if Fiku gets a kill on Cross here, then this retake is absolutely on. That Molotov may well just tickle at the feet of Blame F. Very unfortunate not to get more from that. And that will allow for the rotation to start coming over, start to set up for what should be a relatively winnable retake. Nice pop of the smoke, just doesn't quite catch the timing on body.
Does not, and Blame manages to cross as well. That's the bomb over, but Fiku disrespecting the smoke, manages to get himself a kill, doubles down. Body finds a trade here, but it might be too little too late. 30 seconds on the clock, but there's already so many people here. Reinforcements on the way. They're not particularly going to want to. The moment he plants out in the open, wrong move, wrong position. And that will be OG taking themselves a first round. And actually pretty cleanly there.
That's a 3v5 conversion, so not a bad shout at all for OG. And again, you're starting to see it early on. fnatic, they just didn't need to commit to the short play. They just needed to back out of that situation, accept you've got the 5-on-3, reset and go for the late round play. Feels like occasionally they're missing sort of that mid-round direction on how to re-establish yourselves after getting that opening advantage. The perk is, of course, they're on the T side of things, so the economy will support them endlessly. They get a solid enough buy here. 3 Galils, a couple of AK-47s. Enough smokes, I'd say, to plan a full execute if they want to go in that direction as well, whereas OG making the usual sacrifices. Buzz drops down to the MP9, couple of players without head armor. And fnatic just happy to slow this one down in the opening moments and bleed the util out of OG.
Absolutely the way to do it. They've not got much utility of their own to counter it with, so playing it slow, trying to keep hold of it for the later round is going to be necessary here. But I think OG showing good signs already. And it's always Buzz. I feel really bad for Buzz. Buzz it's been his whole career, hasn't it? Buzz, you're going to drop down to the MP9. Modo, has the angle here as well. He's going to be challenged by multiple at the same time. If he's lucky, he's going to get one. Fortunately, just going to have to back away here, but has the backup of Nexius. However, there's that apartments player coming on through that they do have to be wary of. Their backs are turned to him right now.
It's a nice setup from fnatic. They've got them well pinched inside of the site, but they're looking for the rotations early. Body and Mattis looking for them, and well, Fiku gets a freebie. And suddenly, this site hold looks a lot stronger if they're looking for the long play, just unaware of Mattis' position. Able to grab a gift of a kill, and suddenly, this looks very sketchy indeed. Modo on 12 HP inside of the site. He goes down. The rotations have been caught. A whiffed spray from Buzz, and he's punished. And in the blink of an eye, that site has just fallen. It's not anything particularly special from fnatic. Again, just a little bit disjointed and a couple of missed timings on the call, I think, from OG. Fiku getting that initial kill on Long, almost lulling them to a false sense of security and thinking that Long is therefore completely covered. Mattis gets a gift, and he's not going to turn those ones down.
No, I was quite surprised. OG's had the misfortune of unfortunately just moving people over and making those rotates early and often wrong calls. However, if they'd been able to catch a couple more of the Fnatic players as they were rotating over from B, could have been a completely different round. I do think it's quite interesting that they have sent BlameF hunting here as well. They are trying to sort of track down that final weapon, even without the money in their bank to really support losing too many other people. But yeah, Kristen just going to hold on to that A1S, and it is going to be a lifeboat in the middle of a vast ocean for them. There is not much else on these players.
2,900 loss bonus will just about make this next buy viable. They are going to take the tactical, though. I think that's understandable. You can kind of look down it and go, well, Buzz is going to struggle, but he'll drop to an MP9, so that doesn't matter too much. Nexus is going to struggle, but again, not the end of the world. How do you want to look at this round in terms of Krisen's got a good amount of utility behind him. He's almost got enough for a banana take if you really want to go for it. Smoke deep, molly into logs, one pot flash over the top, maybe try and get a couple of upgraded pistols down there as Nexus looks to buy himself a deal and see if you can just get some damage into Fnatic, because as much as they're 4-1 up, the reinvestment is costing them a lot here. I mean, Crimson Afro have got absolutely nothing. Body and Matties aren't far behind. So if you can get a punishment in here, if you can pull something a little miraculous out your back pocket, there definitely is still a way back into this first half.
Oh, for sure. There's still plenty of time for them to recover this. Although, having said that, it's crazy to think that we're already a quarter of the way through regulation this round. I'm still not used to MR30. It just rounds disappear too quickly. Viku had an idea there, was going to go for a little bit of an early peek and stopped immediately in his tracks. Grim's up close and personal. This is going to be a difficult angle for him to fight. Look at how many bodies are waiting. They've stacked over towards A. Actually, surely...
I like the idea.
Surely because they've heard nothing much banana, they're going to want to push that. You can see them taking the bomb that direction.
It's one of those where they've just made a 50-50 call, and you can't really blame them. Fiku's hit a nice shot, though, and hopefully, if you're an OG fan, that will start to dissuade them a little bit on the Fnatic side of things, and that's what we get. Nexius, nice shot on the 5-7. Krisen able to respond with one of his own on the M4A1, and if Fiku can grab a kill here, needs his gun out, and Blame is there with the punish. Critical moments just slipping by. Still very winnable, though. 2v4. Afro on site itself. BlameF does well to get one. He needs his AWP to back him up, though. And they're just going to creep this smoke now. Two players pushing through. Afro looking the wrong way, looking for a reload. Looking for a savior, and he's not going to get one. BlameF still playing with a smoke. Still just trying to see if he can find Buzz through it. It's not going to happen. The defuse is going on behind him. The round's good and done. Blame's just looking for a little bit of extra on the exit here. Look to hold on to the AK, but it's not going to happen.
That is the worst possible outcome. Blame there, attention divided, pincered from both sides, and just so hyper-focused on Buzz there. Now, if you were Blame, would you have maybe decided to go have a look back and just pray that, you know, Buzz respected the smoke? Or...
I feel like he's decided the round's done.
Yeah.
He's called it over before it's even happened, and I don't think that's unreasonable. B-site Inferno retakes are a nightmare at the best of times, let alone when you got someone biting at your heels coming back at you. So he's made the call. It's one of those. It's still a decent enough buy for Fnatic into this one. He, of course, doesn't get to save the AK across, which would have been the ideal situation, but still 3 rifles. And expect to see something just a little bit swifter here. Nice shot from Modo onto Matties to open up, though.
That's the way to do it. Now, they've not got much foothold on the map at all right now. We do see that Crims has got a little bit of space over towards A. They're desperately trying to fight for Banana right now. But just taking this one slow, back away, meet up again with Crims. But unfortunately, that site is looking particularly well fortified, and they already play it down here as well. Crims has got to contend with that balcony player.
3 smokes makes you think maybe, just maybe, there's a way they can do this. One goes towards long early, and they are going to try and contest this. I would have a really nice sight line as they start to work their way round. Although this is the Fnatic smoke they like to drop. It opens up the potential of apartments, and it also opens up the potential of that split down towards B. So just trying to bait the AWP into thinking in 2 minds about where he should be holding, and he's going to go back for more. Afro not able to capitalise, but Buzz will go down 1 for 1, and it's a couple of nice trades inside the site itself. An extra smoke available, which will just about open up the after plant. BlameF to get it down. And this is where, again, it gets just that little bit sketchy now for the CT side. 2v3, make it 2-on-2. Crims showing his intelligence, just peeking, looking for anything, and over the top of the smoke, he's able to pick off one, which makes this retake feel so ugly. The bomb about a quarter of the way gone. Modo's trying to work his way all the way around to short, and it just leaves two isolated 1v1s.
That re-smoke absolutely screwing Fiku there. He's got to disrespect the smoke. There's no time. Pushes out BlameF, watching for it as well. They've got to have an idea that someone's come round long. But there we go. That's Modo just backing away, wanting to save the AWP. Not really in a position to do much else there. And everyone else just gonna back away. That one, I like the retake, the re-smoke there. That one single smoke over towards Library absolutely ruined any chance they had, because Fiku either had to go rotate round or had to wait out that smoke or disrespect it. Chose to disrespect it, walked unfortunately directly into a trap. And a second timeout being called here as well, because we're getting towards the end of the half here, all things considered. And I think they're struggling. OG, they're getting the kills. They're just not able to get the kills in time to save the win condition.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of those rounds as well when you look back and realise, you know, fnatic brought 3 rifles into that very limited utility. It should have been a knockout, should have been a shutdown. And just a couple of awkward fights really coming through. I mean, you saw Buzz able to go 1-1, but he's top balcony. He shouldn't be contesting long, realistically. There should be some kind of cover there. Modo kind of got caught in two minds, I suppose. Afro played it well, pushed the issue, tried to keep the AWP passive, but by pressing the smoke, he really forced Modo to fall deep into Library, and then that just exposed the entire site setup. And from there, like you said, a couple of nice place smokes, a nice couple of timings, and the round just slips you by. This one, they're going to try and get proactive with, and, well, there's flashbangs up left, right, and center, so nobody can see a damn thing. But Crizzen, he's going to do just about well enough to open things up.
Almost. Fiku thought he'd got away with his life there. But that's an unfortunate one. The flashbangs causing issues for both teams. They are just going to fall back there. They don't really particularly want to push them and fight down Banana there. Throw out a smoke, and that is going to stop Mattis even having a poke back at Banana. Now they are gathering up in mid, heading over towards A, but OG, they've already called this. They've rotated everyone on over here for this fight. And actually, the fact that Figu's not hearing anything, he's got to have passed this over. The information that OG have in their hands right now is immense.
I mean, I'd hesitate to say it, but it should be a lockout. First round of smokes go over the top. CTs are going to be playing ahead of both of those. Arch and Library really not going to do anything at all. So as the pot flash comes through, there should be a nice enough setup here to deal with it. Modo in a good spot. Can't quite land his first bite at it. Not punished too much, though. Able to reset. Look his way back towards the site. Mattis again, just on one still after yesterday's games. Buzz trying to rotate into a position to get something done from Mini Pit. Mollied out of his first option. BlameF and Crim's able to combine for a nice couple of kills. And now Crizzen and Fiku. This is all on the timings, and it's just not quite right for the MP9. Fiku's in an awkward spot here as well, working in late, well read by Afro, and that's another one where a 4v5 conversion comes through from fnatic, and it's not anything particularly smart. It's a couple of missed shots on the edges. Mattis does very well to punish Modo, and then the site just collapses in on itself.
That was one that we were praising the setup and like that they are ahead of the smokes. They should be fine. And as you said, the pieces sort of topple one by one. Modo, if he'd got that initial kill, we would have seen an entirely different round there, I think. But alas, that is not how the chips fell. Now, Fiku left as this Banana defender once more, and only with a deagle once again, but have seen some crazy shots hit. Buzz is going to take the initial contact, however. Either going to come away with a kill, however.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this setup. I always feel like when you go to these sort of half-bar situations, you're better off rolling the dice on something a little inventive than fall into what is looking increasingly like a very sort of standard default.
Default, yeah.
I mean, Fiku and Modo, sure, there's a little bit of something there towards top Banana. Maybe you can get the bait and switch going, but these 3A players are really stuck between a rock and a hard place now. They've got to hit some shots, and they've got to hit them very quickly. I think the barrel of Buzz's gun was just pointing out there as well, so Crims should have half a clue about what's going on. Buzz thinking about the possibility of Crims' angle as well, but again, the problem is there's just not enough firepower here, and I mean, OG have even stole a third one over towards that B bomb site, so this is going to fall apart. It's just a matter of how much longer as BlameF opens things up. Nice shot from Nexius for one, but again, the trade is there immediately.
they can just lock out of this site. However, that retake can be so hard. They do still have to get a Buzz, but unfortunately Buzz, as you said, was left, had to watch short at apartments here as well. And unfortunately, only so much you can do with one gun and two eyes. They have managed to get the rotate on over, and Buzz is still hanging on for dear life here. Isn't able to get a kill, however, that's Matt has taken his head clean off his shoulders. And now Chris and Modo, what do you even do here? The round is over. You've got these deagles. You've not got a whole load of money in the bank. Maybe trying to go for an exit here, but unfortunately, actually, Modo going to pick up a kill there, trying to steal back a rifle. The resmoke coming in, there's no way that they can even attempt this. An arm's not quite long enough to reach that rifle.
Yeah, it's a shame he got the kill so far away, realistically. If he'd been out towards long, they probably would have grabbed it and ran. That's a boost and a half. Hoping to see someone in apartments on the transfer. They're going to get their shot as well. Oh my goodness, Matters. This is what we saw from him against 3D Max as well. When he gets into a bit of a vein of form, he is looking really electric, and that's a lovely shot to get his 10th kill on the board. fnatic already 7-2 up. I mean, realistically, if you're OG, you've got to start hitting the panic button here, and we are going to see Modo get that up in his hands yet again. I feel like we need just something a little more inventive out of the CT side. I'd like to see them try the banana take just to throw something different in there. We've not really seen anything beyond, especially on the rifle buys, a fairly passive default into getting executed on and your sight hold collapsing.
True. I'd love to see them try fight with some sort of aggression because they're playing really far back here. And they're just waiting for the mistakes to be made. And unfortunately, by the time that fnatic have got onto a site, they've already lost too many people. The round's too far gone. I'd love to see them take the fight to them. However, unfortunately, not going to get that this round. FlameF going to be rounding the corner. Gets a lot of damage off. Not going to be able to confirm the kill. And they're just going to shuffle him towards the back to watch the flank, I guess.
Yeah, Mattis has tagged up Buzz on the other site in the meanwhile, just to keep things even more interesting.
They've rotated over Modo early, which I like, but unfortunately, it looks like fnatic, they're hesitating on even going towards B here.
They're actually going to cycle the AWP in and out, so Krisen will work his way back, knowing that he's low HP, try and set himself up on a bit of an off angle in towards CT. fnatic, I mean, yeah, I'm not entirely sure here. I think they're just stalling for rotation timings, and to be fair to them, it is working. Krisen has started to make his way out towards the apartments. Arches, there we go. And he's going to work his way, drop a little bit of util over towards the A-bomb site. I mean, these nades coming over the top will give the game away, but it's a question of how many shots can these two site players hit. Krisen does well from CT to spam away one, and if they don't clear Fiku, they could get a little awkward. He's managed to find a kill, but again, just about finding the trades on fnatic, and with 28 seconds left on the clock, I mean, Krisen, he could go for it, could look to deny the bomb plant, but the clock's not really an issue yet for fnatic. And again, those low HP bars are going to be a problem. Afro picks off one. And with Buzz on 18 HP, I'm not too sure. Yeah, OG just can't justify it.
No, it seems like it has been the case this whole map is by the time that they get here, because fnatic, or I don't know whether it's credit to fnatic for waiting for those rotate timings or a faux pas on OG's part. They just seem to always rotate the wrong player to the wrong side at the wrong time. It's like the stars have aligned so horrifically for them.
I think the real problem that round was the two tags to low HP, because you can kind of, what I would have wanted to see from OG, if they had the health to work with it, is it goes quiet and we get aggressive on A. And we see something and we flash into mid and we get some kind of idea of what's happening so we can get the rotations going. But with two players, one shot from death, you can't risk making that play. You can't try that proactive thing. So you end up just falling into, again, the same passive default hold that you've been doing the whole half. And at that point, I don't think it's any particular credit to fnatic just holding and waiting for the rotations, but it's just an inevitability that you're going to have to make a rotation. You're going to have to make a call with no information. You're going in blind and you've not really got the health to be doing that. This time, though, this is what we want to see. Something a little bit more inventive. Nexius is going to get proactive down mid and he's going to get rewarded with at least a kill. Quickly traded away. Buzz's HE finds one more, but again, it's Matty's and this time body to back him up, keeping this T-side in it 2-on-2.
Lovely start there. We talked about the proactivity. If he'd been able to find some more, would have been incredible. But alas, not to be. Crims, if he can get this kill, he is going to fall there. But OG, is it too little too late at that point? That was a really nice round. We talked about switching up, doing something proactive, and they actually win the round, whether it's directly off the back of that. They got a lot of information from that play early on down mid. But even 4-8 half, you know, and even that's not a guarantee right now. Is it enough going on to their T side? I'll be curious to see, because it really feels like they have been struggling to find the passion in this sort of map. And they are going onto the side where they have to be proactive and take the steps first.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, and I think that's just going to make it a little bit tougher. Playref, nice combination with body, with the nades. I mean, that's what you're going to get with this fnatic lineup. That's what you're going to get when you've got so many very experienced individuals. Those kind of preset nade timings, they're just intrinsic at this point, and it's an absolute gift of an opener for fnatic. Really don't have to do anything to make it happen. Crizzen, he's going to try and be cheeky with it. It's a nice flashbang over the top, but the problem is there's just too many bodies, so players are just too close to it. Nexius does well to get one, but at this point, trapped into the corner. Afro, he'll happily sit in the Molotov if he can find a trade, and that buys a 2-on-4, which at this point, I mean, Buzz and Modo, they're split between the two sites. It's understandable. The problem is you've got your star player Modo. He's in completely the wrong portion of that pier. And Buzz, well, it's a 1-for-1 trade if fnatic know what they're doing, and BlameF is in the right position to get it.
Is having Crims there just sitting and listening for any information as well, and they're sending Modo round the world for this one. But look at that. Somebody sat there waiting, and that is going to be a 9-3 half to fnatic.
Well, it was OG's map pick, but it sure didn't feel like it. 3 rounds on their CT half. Fnatic 9 to the good. And just feeling like there's a bit too much of a firepower discrepancy here for OG to realistically mantle. They will get a shot at it. T-side pistol could go a long way to making some kind of a recovery in this situation, but banana control almost immediately taken by fnatic, and really nothing that OG can do about it.
Zero resistance put up at all there, and look at that, Blame F with an opening pick, Mattis as well, getting that information, and even not losing their life to it as well. Crim's tucked in here as well, might just be able to find something, make the numbers swing in their favor even further here. Can hear the utility coming on out, it's all a matter of when he peaks. There we go, there it is, spotted, is trying to tap away, taken down however, but dying for the information and for the cause here. Body gonna find something, only gonna find a bullet to the dome there. Mattis fighting around this corner, gets one, lots of damage, not able to find anything else, and it's up to Blame F in the clutch here. They can just take that bomb B if they want to now, and that is exactly what it looks like they're doing.
Modo's gonna hard clear it, make sure it's open completely. Fiku's worked his way around the apartments. Blame F a bit of an unknown for a split second, and he has actually got Krisen a little isolated here. Really needs that support line to be ran from Fiku inside of the A site at the moment. Krisen will just about get away with it, and at this point, that should be a free backstab. It's a little ugly, but Fiku gets the job done. fnatic falling on old ways, shall we say. Very 1v1 in the peak, so I can't think of a better term for it. They are just peeking one at a time in that pistol, and despite getting the opening man advantage, peeking 1v1 into T-side groups is just not a smart play. They lose it down. They're going to go for the force buy to the second regardless, which is understandable. Decent little buffer to work with. And of course, the finances of getting all the utility you need on Inferno, realistically not possible round 3. So we will see some of these MP9s come out. Absolutely no utility, though, which is not a common occurrence on a map like Inferno.
No, it's not. It's going to make trying to take banana control a little bit difficult, especially with 4 people, actually I'd say 4 people are stacked here. They're just going to run it on down. The MP9s are just going to farm, and I was going to say this might be a little bit of a recipe for disaster, but actually they managed to get all of the kills, and they are just going to head straight A. They're willing to take the gamble that they did enough damage to deter them from that B site, and actually they have got that little bit of a presence from Buzz in the apartment, and that bomb is floating around, not fully committed yet. Buzz spots out some people, and it is going to be the sign for them to head B instead. It's whether Mattis can keep hold of this site for long enough.
There's a timing on the rotation out as well. You can see Buzz is toying with it in and amongst the apartments. There's a fast flank coming in towards B. The timings on this are ridiculous. Buzz has just been heard. He does manage to get one, but sneaking by him is the rifle body. Krisen does very well to clear him hard. And this one feels like it's just started to swing back in favor of OG here. Mattis wants it. He's toying with going through that smoke. The timing on this is going to be absolutely everything. Fiku has passed by. If Mattis comes out of this looking the wrong way, he's in a lot of trouble. 2 remaining players still over towards the A bomb site, and Mattis, I think, intelligently just opts to back away from that situation, looks to reset as that smoke starts to fade. And here we go. Get an absolute gift there. Buzz unaware that the smoke had faded, and buys his team a 2v2 that definitely still feels winnable.
It does indeed. They've got no utility, but if you have a look at the side of OG as well, they're working with 2 single flashbangs, and that CT smoke, that's going to be clearing up pretty soon as well. Attention divided in so many different ways with these MP9s. Difficult weapons to retake, especially with Fiku back sight there as well. Krisen rounds the corner. It's going to be a matter of who pulls the trigger quicker. And actually, Afro winning that one out. Fiku, the last hope they have. There's no kit available, so it has to be them moving quickly. Gets the first kill. It's messy. Spots Blame F as well, but he gets the kill. Is there enough time for it? I don't think there is. He just has to run, and that is devastating. They make all of the right steps. Not quite enough, however, but that, I'd say, is quite a successful round, all things considered, the buy they went into it with.
It's not too shabby at all. We're lamenting the fact they didn't pick up a kit, but it's a good round to win, and it's one that gives them a really nice platform to push on from once they get the rifles into hands as well. Blame F going to have his. Should expect to see a handful of upgraded pistols into this round as well. First of fnatic's timeouts coming through. And this is where they can really look to push on, because having taken every single rifle away from OG, the reinvestment is going to essentially empty the bank accounts. They won't have anything left in reserve, so they're actually going to look to full force it here, which is understandable. If they break OG's economy here, a 1,400 loss bonus, you're looking at probably one of the scruffiest full buys, force buys even, you're going to see from OG. Probably looking at 2, maybe 3 rounds before they can full buy again, so Fnatic looking to pile on the pressure.
Absolutely, this is a crucial round for them. And it's these sorts of rounds that they can mess around with as well. The fact that they can force by that second round, and even if it had gone miserably for them, they have that round buffer from such a dominant T side that maybe wouldn't have otherwise. And OG, they've been given a little bit of a window here. If they can keep this round and they can keep the economy maybe not in complete ruin, they might be able to close this gap a little bit more, but that is the goal right now, is they're still distinctly on the back foot. It is just trying to keep themselves in the green here.
Interesting setups from fnatic. Off-angle boost over towards the B bomb site, and the double apartments play over towards A. An early test for Afro, and well, he can't get anything done with it. Crim's now under a lot of pressure, does well to get one and fall away. Utility comes out to try and buy him a bit of time, but all the while he's been looped round long, and Mattis, well, he's trying to make the rotation into support, but it is just an MP9 making that rotate, so Crimson gets a freebie out towards long. Mattis does well to find one onto Modo, and a rough old spray through the smoke nearly comes through. But Crimson down on 18 HP will get the bomb plant, and I think realistically at this point, BlameF and Body probably, yep.
Call it quits.
Already looking to bail out of this situation, knowing the money isn't really there. So a 6th round on the board for OG, and a much needed one, as you said, just trying to keep that money in the green.
Keeping themselves afloat. I think it's a shame because they definitely have the firepower to go for this, especially with Chris and low health, but with no kit available and so far removed from the site, by the time they got there, just would have had no time to clear sight as well as get that defuse coming on in. And I don't think it's worth trying to take away these weapons, especially considering where their money's at. MF does have to be careful. Can hit Chris and running at him, and that is going to be a free kill. Every little helps.
Yeah, it's typical BlameF. Gets himself the exit. Yeah, it's one of the problems with the CT economy as it is at the moment. You'd like to see teams giving that a go. You'd like to see them having a push in, but realistically, the percentage play is to back out of that.
Yeah.
And you can see it's going to leave them in a really solid position coming into this next half buy. You've got 2 rifles to back up, an MP9 and a couple of upgraded pistols. Still plenty of firepower on the board and plenty of potential to get some damage done. And every damage they get, I mean, again, you look over at that T-side economy of OG, they're still only rocking a 1,400 loss, and they're still spending a lot of money to get in each of these rounds. Only 2 players alive from the previous, so not really building up any bank behind it, which is always going to be a little bit problematic, as it looks like they want to go for something a little bit swifter through the apartments here.
I like the idea. We talked about wanting something scrappy and a little bit unusual, and hopefully this is going to be it. But the problem they've got is they've got 2 sets of guns trained on them. Beautiful kill there from Christian, but BlameF, the spray transfer, impeccable. Gets 2, and that's giving them the advantage. Molotov's going to force him out, but he's still got this angle, still got this line of sight to keep on fighting. There we go. Peeks in. Nexi is taken down. Going for some more as well. BlameF tapping away Fiku, and now it's just Modo left.
1v3 to try and contend with, and Afro's having absolutely none of it. Lovely work. And BlameF, I mean, that's just a really nice position for him to find himself in. A little bit of space, a little bit of time, a smoke to work around the edges off. It's where he does his best stuff. And I think OG just perhaps guilty of getting a little bit complacent there. You saw a couple of players swinging the site while not trying to clear BlameF out of Pit and Mini. It just makes it all too easy for him to tap away. Even the player in apartments, right? He's too busy, too focused on trying to get the kill out towards long. Nobody's really looking at BlameF because they've dumped utility there. They presume he's playing passive, and he takes full advantage of that. A lovely round to find, and it's one we were talking about the economy being just a bit all over the shop for this T side, and it's one that's going to make it all the worse. The force into this is ugly, and almost immediately it's stripped away. A couple of opening kills from Mattis down Banana. At this point, this round's done. It's an 11th on the board, and you're probably looking at a full eco from OG after this.
That's what I was about to say, like, during the previous round. All it takes for them is for one fluke eco or scrappy buy to go slightly awry for OG, and suddenly their whole half is up for grabs. And fnatic, they abuse it, and as you said, this round already looks kind of done and dusted. The money is going to be in shambles, and Body looking to finally hammer this one home as well, put them on 11, creeping ever closer to, at the very least, securing overtime.
Happy just to sit back at this point, knowing they've got all the control, all the space, all the time in the world. They don't really need to contest either of these. Matties and Body are well set up inside of the B-bomb site. Everyone else is locking down A. So there's a couple of players looking to poke in. I mean, we've seen Modo pull off some pretty nice moments, but traditionally an AWPer, he's going to have to pull out something pretty spectacular from the rifle if he wants to make it happen. They are actually going to go for a little bit of a fake here. Couple of smokes up, send Fiku in. BlameF has bitten on the rotation. The problem is there's so many bodies that as Matties gets the kill, there's still two inside this A bomb site. Although Buzz strips it down to one and makes you think maybe, just maybe, a quick trade on the AWPer. That should be a bomb plant coming through as well. A nice little financial win for the T side as he buys himself a 1v3. AWP in hand, and he's starting to think about it. Smart play. BlameF just backing off the angle, knowing that the AWPer is going to be trained on it at this moment, waiting for his teammates to group up out towards short. Buzz, this is going to need a miracle. It's a lovely no-scope for the first, but it just baits him right into the crosshairs of BlameF, gets the job done. I mean, it's damaging. It costs them a lot of money, but they've got such a buffer around at this point. I don't really think fnatic are going to care.
No, absolutely not. The money that they have on them, the fact they managed to keep that AWP on over as well is just more financial security for them. Look at that, BlameF before the buy had 7k, still sat on 4 grand, which means that no matter how the next round goes, they've got one more buy in them. If they can push this, because the buy is not going to be incredible from OG here, they push it to 12, they secure themselves at least overtime. That's a really comfortable position to be in. You can play a little bit fast and loose with the rules then. And then OG just have to keep the pedal to the metal. They don't have any rounds that they can sort of stress test anywhere. They don't have any rounds that they can maybe forgo an opening pick and go, oh, well, I didn't quite go to plan, but we'll do better next time. Is that this is the decider round. OG, they need to pull something miraculous out here to try keep fnatic from that map point.
Miraculous is the right word. It's definitely just felt like the firepower isn't on the same page. OG, they've had some nice ideas, they've had some moments, they've had plenty of 5v4s that could have been converted down clean, and they've just never quite managed to get them over the line. It's always been a little bit of scrappiness coming in for fnatic to get it back. This one, yeah, this would be quite something. I mean, a handful of upgraded deagles. Expect maybe a couple of kills from some nicely placed shots, some nice timings, but realistically, the amount of firepower, the amount of utility that fnatic have got available to them here, I mean, you can see already they've locked out Banana. Second smoke goes down to refresh that, and now they're going to start peeking things. BlameF wants himself some eco frags, manages to get one. Nice trade from Crizzen at the very least, and a smart HE from Afro just to try and keep that rifle as far away as possible. That was a quick switch without shooting, but it's not punished. He's able to reset cleanly enough.
It's a tough position to be in here. It looked like they were just choking them out of the map. And if you have a look at how far Mattis and Body have pushed as well, it might be looking to try stop them coming back because they are crawling back to mid towards B. If Mattis can get more than one, I'm stopped in my tracks. Does fall, but Body just going to fall back here. Hold fire. And unfortunately, also taken down. We talked about needing a miracle as well. And suddenly the B site is completely empty. Crimson Afro miles away. That's a bomb plant guaranteed, and actually, they're still tied up here with Crizzen.
This is going to get ugly. Afro's managed to bail out a dodge, and he's read the situation well enough that that extra player is just going to be rotating into support at this point. Bomb will go down on the back of Modo. But there's honestly a decision to be made here for fnatic. They've not got a lot of money coming their way, and they've not got a lot in their back pockets. It will be a decent enough buy, but I sort of feel like unless they get gifted a pick here on Afro, this is looking like a save already. And yeah, Crims is utterly uninterested in going anywhere near this B-bomb site. So we are going to get the miracle round, and it's sort of, I don't want to harp on because my opinions on BlameF are well known, but he takes an early peek, he goes down 1 for 1, and then you can sort of see how the round spirals out from there. They lose that initial control they had towards middle. They try and get proactive with it in another direction, and they trade them down cleanly enough. But then when you're in a situation where it is a 3-on-3, a 4-on-4, all it takes is one moment of magic. And that's exactly what we got. Nexus hits a really nice shot onto Body top Banana, but taking that 3-on-3 into a 2-on-3, the B-bomb site completely unoccupied. And on a map like Inferno, you're not going to give that retake a go.
Oh, it's one of the worst maps ever for retaking. I hate playing CT on this map. I am actually surprised it's one of the maps that hasn't sort of leaned into being T-sided yet. Is one of the things that has quite surprised me. Now, Afro looks like they want to take a little bit of an early peek mid. Molotov'd off, however. I actually think the Molotov bounced back.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, the jump throws going has ruined the days of a lot of people here. Body has taken a couple of bullets. Afro gotta be careful as well because Buzz is crawling on around the base of the apartments here. Actually, just gonna fall into the trap.
No.
Spotted. That one hurts to watch. Matters a couple of bullets through the smoke. Not gonna find anybody just yet though. And fnatic, so much control. OG, they've not managed to find a foothold anywhere. Banana, they're trapped between two smokes. Actually, they've managed to send Moto back with the bomb. And they're gonna be sending him alt mid as well.
They've sort of got to. They're really not aware of what kind of apartments control they've got. They've still not technically cleared Afro out. They've heard someone exiting the apartments, but they really have no information. Normally, you'd see a second player in there, so they've got to be very conscious of that. And that's exactly what we're going to start to see here. They're going to work their way up to the apartments, try and clear it out as a unit. And again, it becomes a bit of a game of timings here. I mean, Crims is in a good enough position to back Afro up. But how much are they going to press through these apartments? Fiku has got the full nade set to double flash out. That is a lovely timing on the molly, though, from Crims, and that's going to buy some time. Fast flank now starting to come in. If they can kill the mid player, the AWP of Afro can start to turn his attention back around towards the apartments, and that's exactly how this one looks to play out. Crims goes 1-on-1, but that's about all you needed from him, realistically, because Afro's there, or is he? Lovely shot from Crizen. Afro caught between two mines, caught between two angles, and Crizen is continuing to have impact. He's read the flank of Body to utter perfection. Flame F spamming away, can't quite find the connection. Mattis trying to be the hero, traded 1-for-1 by Nexius, stuck inside of the site now, and it's Mattis with the spray down who will save fnatic their blushes. Felt like an absolute lock. Crizen did everything he possibly could to not make it so, but it's going to be fnatic with the map point.
Feels like a tale as old as time with this one, with Crizen just doing his damnedest to try to find something to read on that flanking apartment. As you said, perfection there. But the fact that it doesn't come to fruition, that one hurts a little bit because it feels like OG earned it. It coming down to the 1v1 there. But here we are, map point here. On OG's map pick, no less. A little bit of a concerning factor here. And now OG, they've got the equipment to do one more final push here. It has to be now. And but the opening pick, and actually Nexius getting that second one as well gives them the player advantage. But what we learned in that first half is player disadvantage seems to mean nothing to fnatic.
Afro's in a tough old spot here. If they push him cleanly enough as two, it should be an impossible one for him to get out of alive. Just toying with the idea of falling off of it now. It's going to be a game of those timies, though. Moda's well set. He tries to get re-aggressed and tries to push something in. There's three players waiting for this exact peak. Nexius, he's going to go for it, and the shoulder peak's not quite clean enough. Nice shot from Afro, and that levels us back out at 3-on-3. He falls off the angle immediately. So not really pressed by any of the counter utility that starts to come in, and now he's got a game to play. Wants to go back in for more. He wants to get this peak, and well, if he can clear out top banana here, he can call these rotations to perfection. Buzz is right there, right and ready, but Matties and Crims just all too ready to face him. Clean enough kill found. And with Afro posted up over towards B, there's nothing to stop them. Yeah, just clean rotate into the A site, turtle down, and just get ready for this hit to come your way.
Absolutely. That AWP having line of sight, Banana knows that there's nothing coming there. And as you said, hunker down on this A site. Lovely crosshair established. It's going to be Matties that's tested here. Gets a first, going to get the second. Clean 13-7 to end this one out. Not a shadow of a doubt in fnatic's mind there. And OG, they had some moments of brilliance. And Crizen definitely tried their best to keep some semblance of a map on their hands. But alas, just not meant to be. Now, going into map
discrepancy, but we sort of talked about it, and there are sort of some not necessarily win conditions, but ways they can make this either less painful or more competitive. And I think the big one's going to be seeing Modo on that AWP. I think we need to see him out with it early. If it's T side, get him into canals, get him peeking, get him proactive. If it's CT, we need to see some aggression. We need to see something to take the pace out of Fnatic sales. And well, it's going to be a fast-paced B play to start things off. Straight into 3, though. Nice flashes over the top, but you've got to clear those Julies out, guys. And they don't. And they are punished. Brutal.
That was over and done in the blink of an eye. Blame F just held down left click there. And got 4, actually. A shame he couldn't quite get the ace. Had that stolen away by Mattis. But OG, this is not the start that we wanted to see. In fact, so far from it. We said maybe we wanted some aggression. That's not what we meant. I think also just kind of unlucky that they ran into the stack there. But at the end of the day, it was BMF doing the heavy lifting. It was one person, didn't clear him. And now, unfortunately, they're going to pay the price just on the pistols here. Not a single cent in sight. And they are just going to be creeping on forward.
I mean, I'm not really sure what they're going to try and achieve here. It looks like they want to maybe pop into E-Box. And, I mean, yeah, maybe that's all right. Afro's only gone for a P250, so if you can potentially break into a site where he is, which he has rotated over towards B, there's an isolated fight to be taken there. The problem is he's got 2 rifles to back him up. And with an M4A1 and a FAMAS here, you really don't feel like these pistols are going to get much of anything done. BlameF doing what he does best, drops down out the window, gets a couple of eco frags. Mattis and Body able to back him up. Only the 1 casualty. They cycle the rifle onto Afro. It's pretty much as clean as you'd like from fnatic. And this is where we need to see something a bit more out of OG, right? We've got a pause coming in for something, and it's going to give them a bit of time just to think about how they want to play this. We need to see just sort of anything to disrupt what you would call sort of standard operating procedure for fnatic, because thus far it really hasn't gone much beyond that.
No, absolutely. The full front aggression didn't work for them. I'd like to see them maybe try take a fight mid and then try feel out whether there was any space to work with after that, because feels like they've tried to push that B side both times now to disastrous effect. Maybe give it a little bit of a rest there. Alternatively, they're maybe trying to condition fnatic into leaning heavily over towards B to then mysteriously go A. But who knows? Match pause, I'm guessing somebody has had a little bit of technical issue, which in the day and age of CS2, who can really be surprised? Does give us a very quick second, however. We can have a look at how the other matches are going. In case you stayed with us for the whole break, you didn't have a peek. 3D Max versus Falcons. It's going to map number 2, and it was actually 3D Max that took that first map. It's kind of crazy. It was a 13-3 as well. Eternal 5 versus Cloud9 as going to its second map right now. Eternal Fire took map number 1. And Heroic versus Bait. Heroic took map number 1 in overtime. So needless to say, it's been a little bit of a crazy day all around for the IEM Rio qualifiers.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons are a bit of an oddity. So I can see a world where 3D Max get that done. And to be fair, going towards Nuke, I mean, this is a full French stack. Why would you let them anywhere near Nuke? Because it is just a home for those sort of teams. And I'm just having a quick nosy at the numbers now. And it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect. The rifle went nuts. The AWP went nuts right behind him. It's the right players turning up at the right time. But other than that, I don't think it's too abnormal. There's nothing too crazy going on there. It's very pre-major vibes is what it gives to me. Yes. We were talking about this a little bit in the in-between. Teams tend to get a little sort of blinkered around the idea of the major and getting ready for that and getting prepped for that. And some of these events, they'll either not be 100% prepped for, or they'll take a bit of a gamble. And I think we've sort of seen a little bit of that here and there where teams go, we will just beat these lineups more often than not. Definitely when you see Falcons picking up something like Nuke against a team like 3D Max, you know they're not going to have done as much homework as they would have liked, and certainly not as much homework as they would do against certain other teams. So it does open the door for rosters like 3D Max who do have the potential. And I mean, we've seen it recently, got some great finishes and some big events, to potentially pull off an upset where they can go away and go, right, we've not got anything big on the horizon. We can just full focus this. Let's do our homework, do our prep, get these maps ready and get ready to roll.
I do like that these sorts of events around the major, they do open up the opportunity for more, I don't necessarily want to say tier 2 teams, but teams that you don't necessarily see in all of the S tiers, in all of your IEM events as well. Because a lot of teams, as you said, their focus is on the major and the qualifier. And with qualifiers being so weird this time around, it feels like there's even more pressure on them right now as well. So teams that have taken a backseat and gone, we know that we've not qualified for the major because of the new Valve ranking system, whatever. We can focus and channel everything into our research for this. We can go into IEM Rio and we can absolutely smash it out of the park. And I think is what we're seeing right now. But looks like the wonderful admin and League Ops teams in the background have managed to fix all of the issues. So we are back into the game in round number 3. Hopefully, fnatic, they can keep up the momentum from those 2 incredible starting rounds after this break. I think that's one of the issues with so many tech issues in CS2 is that like starting, stopping, the chopping and changing can sometimes mess with some of the players' heads.
One perk of this fnatic lineup is most of them are old hands at it, and they've been in it through the good old days of CSGO when it crashed constantly and had network issues and you just have to pray it worked itself out. So I think they're definitely one of the more established teams used to these sort of things going wrong in front of them, but we'll have to see if OG can maybe pull something out of the back pocket here. It's a relatively passive setup again from them. fnatic not pushing the issue either, not looking too keen to get involved on the CT side initially. A fairly standard 2-1-2 split. Trusting Body to be that rotation player. Afro working the AWP into an A main angle. Normally you'd expect to see that AWP a little more proactive, but this time they're setting him up beautifully. HE comes in from Blame F, pops the smoke, he gets a gift. And you can see the reaction almost immediately. The CT side are going to start rotating an extra man towards B. Afro's going to work his way back in towards mid and start to help covering those angles. And they've pretty much got OG exactly where they want them now. They've got the read, they know what's coming, and they can't clear out this AWP. So it's just pick on pick, apart from Matties, who's looking completely the wrong way and gives his life up to Nexius.
Yeah, Body got a little bit scary there, pulled out the utility in the wrong peak at the wrong time, could have spelled disaster, but the smoke is just going to funnel them back all over towards A. Now Crim's that Molotov, going to buy a little bit of time. Afro lined up, ready to take the shot. Doesn't quite get the kill on it, but Crim's ready and waiting. Back up there, saves his team's bacon. And now Crizzen, where do you even go? He's trying to find a little bit of escape to save this AK, because it's going to be the only thing that's going for him in the next round. But Body, however, ships in the night. They are just crossing paths. If he chooses to head up towards spawn now, might just catch him. But Crizzen holding for the angle, loses the fight anyway, and Body takes that weapon, gonna steal the AK as a trophy of his win.
Loses it after time as well, so he doesn't get any money, which just makes it worse. And OG have now got a really tough decision to make. I mean, Crizzen, yeah, he's forcing. He's got $400. It doesn't matter how much loss he's getting next round. He's not buying anything nice. Rest of the team, it's a slightly different question. I think Nexius is kind of buying into the we're going to force around him, but the rest of the team seem less than convinced. So a handful of upgraded pistols here and there, a little bit of armor, just to try and, again, get some damage, because these opening rounds have been a little too clean for fnatic. That one especially, 4 rifles still up. Body even managing to save over that AK, as you mentioned. So plenty of firepower kept up, plenty of money starting to build up in the bank, which is a rarity these days for a CT side, puts them in good stead. What have OG got to try and change that picture? It's a bit of an awkward setup, actually, this one from fnatic, with 3 over towards B, 2 to A. They've not really got any cover in mid, so as this A split looks to come in, you can see the pressure starting to mount. They're going to charge down Con straight through the molly. Blame F, well, he does well to get one. They need teammates to back them up here. Nice shot from Fiku onto Afro, and Crims is isolated. Fiku will grab another with the Deagle, and this one's on.
They managed to get a little bit of a pincer onto the site here as well. One of their pressure smokes expended on an angle that no one was even coming from. Buzz, missed shot, spells trouble. Matt is going to take him on down, going for some more taps away. Double peek here. What could Crizzen even do? They scoop back up the AWP. Plenty of time for the defuse, and OG, we said they found a little bit of a weakness, a crack in the armor in mid that they could exploit, but unfortunately the retake just so incredible there, led the charge by Mattis.
I think slightly helped out by the fact they were lacking a little bit of firepower there. Buzz did not look comfortable on that AWP whatsoever. Nope. That was a pretty aggressive overflick to end up in the middle of nowhere as he went down. And Fiku and Crizzen, it was a little bit of miscomms and a little bit of the fact that Crizzen just didn't have any health whatsoever. He was really stuck. He didn't want to peek, but Fiku thought he had him covered from main, so Fiku goes a little too wide, gives away the free kill, and you can just see how it deteriorates from there on out. We'll still be able to get the rifles into this one, though. Modo does get that AWP in his hands relatively early on in proceedings, which is what I was after. What can he do with it, though? That's the problem. He's over towards B for now, but not looking too interested in giving that one a peek.
No, I wouldn't be either. Now, they are trying to work their magic slowly but surely over towards B. Once again, they're trying to push through E-Box. This has only spelled disaster. Mattis has a smoke there that could cause some issue, cuts up the team and stops the attack. They could try burst through it. It looks like that's what they plan to do with the utility. Smoke's coming out to try block lines of sight here. Unfortunately, still not able to work any footsteps onto this site.
Just struggling to get past. The spam through the smoke is doing so much work for the CT side. And with 3 players here ready to go, they're actually going to pop flash through the smoke. Matty's trusted to get aggressive with it early, and he's managed to deny the bomb plant. Buzz down to desperately low health. Body continuing to just crack heads through the edges of these smokes. He gets the AWP down low, USB to finish, and he's just staying alive, just being a nuisance inside of this B bomb site. Finally cleared out, but with so much damage on the board. I mean, Afro is even on a fast flank from B main here. There is timings left, right, and center for this T side to consider, and they are utterly trapped at this moment. The low HP Buzz will hit the headshot, and maybe that just opens up half an opportunity here. Problem is, Crims has still got a HE. If that can clear out Buzz, it leaves Fiku in a very awkward 1v2. BlameF starting to work his way out now. Nice spray, manages to rein it in and deal with Fiku. And Buzz, well, he was tagged so desperately low by Matties in the opening moments. He manages to get that bomb down, at least gets a little bit of cash in for his team, but he's just not got the health to compete. There'll be a 5th on the board for fnatic. And I mean, it's good damage. They get into the site, they get the bomb plant, they get 3 kills. The problem is at 5-0 down, you're already starting to think damage doesn't matter, economy doesn't matter. The only thing that we really care about at this point is we need to start getting some rounds on the board.
Exactly, and economy all well and good, but even when they've had these buys, it hasn't led to anything spectacular either. The fact that, you know, Body managed to stay alive, just dancing around the bullets being in use, I would have liked to seen them, because I think AMF was hanging back a little bit, use that opportunity in that window to push up. They could have potentially stopped the bomb plant, but at the end of the day, fnatic 5-0 right now. You cannot complain what they're doing. Recipe for success. Now, you talked about wanting Modo on the AWP. He's got it right now. I'm curious to see what they're planning to do with it. Because it doesn't look like they're going for any early picks or aggression. They are just sitting back and hoping that fnatic play into them. And BlameF actually might just do this. If he peeks mid, there's a lot of people waiting for him.
He's going to be mollied into it, or is he? Oh, no. It was well set. Looked like the perfect play. BlameF mollied in, has to go for the peak, has to get proactive with it. Krisen there for the punishment, but the molly, well, it doesn't quite hit. The second one will, and it'll force BlameF wide. Goes 1 for 1. It's not a bad result for the T side whatsoever. Enables them to start pushing into that mid control. Problem is, where do they look to go from here? With Modo tagged down to 10 HP outside of B, if Afro can get this pick into A main, it gives them a fantastic opportunity just to hold on to A main, even if the A site split comes through. Buzz wanders in, and Crims, well, he's more than up for that task. So now Afro can concentrate his attention towards Connector. You can see already there's a rotation from Matties to start covering exit and making sure there's nothing funky going on there. A drop towards the B site's a novel idea, but Body is here ready and waiting, and all he's got to do, again, he's done this before, he's just got to stay alive on this angle, buy a bit of time, but he can't this time. Matties goes 1 for 1, and that makes for a decent opportunity in the 2v2 for OG.
Yeah, backup is already here, though. They're looking to split it. If Afro can isolate one of these fights, may well be able to, but unfortunately, Crims is taking his sweet time, pushing on through, hiding in the smoke. And as he goes round for the fight, Crims is actually going to win that one out. Fiku is quite far removed from the situation. Bomb is planted for him, and it's going to be difficult to weasel him out of here. But the pincer coming on through. He can hear the footsteps. All he has to do is buy a little bit more time here. The Molotov going to force him to act here as well. They can hear the tick damage. Is just going to allow for Crims to hold. Afro defuses. Beautifully played. Beautifully done. And that is the 6th round. Flawless so far for fnatic.
Again, just making it look a little bit too easy in those moments. It's a nice 2v2. It's a nice setup, but Crims, he reads the situation really nicely, puts himself into B main. You can see the AWP only sort of half aware on Modo of that being a possibility, expecting perhaps something more standard like a Temple Speedway retake, something like that. Gets his life taken away, and from there, Crims has that Molotov in his back pocket, uses it well, locks out the angle, knows that with the default plant, it's not a great plant for the E-Box player. They've got to swing at least a little bit wide to get it done. So he drops a nice shallow molly in there, knows he's going to force that fight on his terms, and it's well executed to get them their 6th on the board. And I mean, we're seeing it's very similar to the flashes of what we got on Inferno, right? It's Fnatic are making small missteps that are allowing OG to get into these situations, because the last couple of rounds have been site retakes. It has been OG have got somewhere with it. They've got themselves into a decent afterplant position, but then they're just lacking the firepower after the fact to really make those afterplants competitive. They're just getting a little outread and a little bit outgunned, and it's just all adding up to result in what we've got here, which is a 6-0 start. I mean, Krisen's 1-6, Modo's 0-6. Nobody's really flying, and then you look over at Fnatic and you've got Blame F on 9-2, Matisse on 8-3. There's just too much space for these individuals to flourish at the moment.
One of the other things I really like about Fnatic is that they've not felt the need to get over-aggressive. They are more than comfortable just to sit on their hands and wait, because at the end of the day, it is the T side that has to make the move first if they want to win. And Fnatic, they've not been drawn into over-aggressing, over-peaking, and it's been working really well for them, because OG, they just look so uncomfortable with this aggression sometimes. And the only times that it's really worked out for them is when you said, when they've made faux pas Fnatic, and they've left somewhere a little bit too open, undefended, and OG's just had maybe the lurk or the sight to have a look in that direction. Prison getting aggressive in mid, however that smoke's going to cause some issues. Body in the perfect position, however if that smoke fades, it's going to cause some problems. He is trapped in here by that Molotov, and there are 3 gun barrels on the other side of this smoke. This is dangerous, but look at that. Both try and peek as the smoke fades, and unfortunately neither of them are going to get the kills, and now it's just Blame F on this site to try hold it down here as well. Dodging utility left, right, and center. Actually, might just be happy to sit tight in this smoke. I hope that they don't clear him. He gets an angle, gets one, gets a second as well. Allows him to get a third, and suddenly this round back in contention. And OG, how do you fumble it like that as well? They hadn't even cleared the site properly. And that has allowed for Fnatic to bring everyone back on over. That bomb not able to be retrieved, and it's just Kristen now. That spam going to alert to his location. Molotov going to force him back as well. And with 30 seconds, there's not really much that he can do here.
He's stuck. He's completely stuck here. It's just small mistakes compounded. Crims will get him through the smoke, but it's actually OG's own smoke. They go a little too shallow in the temple smoke. That gives Blame just half an angle to work with, and that's all he realistically needs. They think they've completely cleared the site. He fades his way out of that smoke really nicely, catches a nice angle. Again, arguably the E-Box player is on that trade and should have it, even if the 2 site players go down, but that's, again, that slight firepower discrepancy. Blame F just a little more attuned to what was going on. And it's another one for OG that they're just going to look back on when they're doing the review of this later and think, how on earth have we let that one slip through our fingers? It's an absolute lock of a round. They've picked both the players on B in towards E-Box. I mean, 3v5s, we talked about 4v5 conversions being like in the 30s most of the time, percentage-wise. 3v5s are basically impossible at the pro level unless something mad happens, and you're just giving them away.
Yeah, padding those HLTV stats, you know? You gotta get that 4v5 win rate percentage up, you know? But yeah, it's been an incredible series here for Fnatic, just at complete loss with numbers coming back. Insane round wins. But OG, I think that timeout very much needed to come in. Dare I say, a little too late as well. You've already let 7 slip through, and you're on the favoured side here. Anything else that Fnatic can get is just gold dust here. Blame F, once again, the mid defender, but choosing to hang fire a little bit just in case he's needed on that A side. Actually, going to award them a little bit more respect in mid than I'd particularly like to see. And that is going to open it up for the chance for them to take this site. However, Afro quick on the trigger as well. They've got Crims waiting, trying to see if anyone comes from Canal. But Buzz doubles down with the deagle. That's huge. Blame F, however, still kicking, fighting. And look at that. Bought enough time for the rest of the team to come hurting onto the side. Body with 1. Actually, Blame F taken down here. But what do you do if you're Buzz? Not retreating, that's for sure. No retreat, no surrender. Fnatic, they want to take this one cleanly. And I don't want to jinx anything, but if this keeps up, I really don't know how OG is going to try break the streak here. Because it looks like everything they've tried has just sort of fallen flat here. They've tried playing passive, doesn't work. Fnatic doesn't budge. They try playing aggressive. They went into Blame F with Julius, who just mows them down, you know?
Yeah, it's sort of getting to that impossible point now. 8-0 down. Nothing they do is working. Everything fnatic do is working out perfectly. I mean, that's just Blame F straight through a mid-smoke to get it to land. Fiku, well, he gets one in response. He deals with Matties, but again, so much damage done on the extremities of the map. That's 2 dinks from body. Admittedly, the man advantage is here for OG, but it's at such a significant consequence. Or is it? Lovely shot from Nexius through the smoke, deals with Blame F, and this one perhaps starts to get a little sketchy. Perhaps there is half a chance now for OG to try and stitch this round together. There's one man alone over towards A. That's Afro. He's got to cover absolutely everything at the minute. And Blame F's dead. Crims is starting to think that maybe there's something going on towards mid. So he is going to abandon this B bomb site. That will allow OG on a timing to get into this and buy them a 3v2 after plant, which they have not had a lot of opportunities to convert on.
They have not, but unfortunately, it's also allowed for Crims and Afro to team back up together. No one is left on the site in this disadvantageous fight. And it is a retake, and fnatic, they've been good at them. However, at a loss, nothing particularly working in their favor here. The smoke clears just in time for Buzz to have slipped away. Now Crims clearing every angle painstakingly, slowly. They've got a lot of utility left on Afro, however. A well-placed smoke over towards main could spell trouble, especially with a quick flick like that.
There's the smoke. They're going to lock this one out. Modo has got a lot to do from this angle, and Afro is just having absolutely none of it. They tap the bomb, bait the spam. It's got to be a stick now for Crims. Afro not looking the right way, but does he think he's got the bomb diffuser? He can't land the spray in. Everything is coming up fnatic right now. There's just nothing OG can do. That's a really nice afterplant situation. That spam is pretty pedestrian by most team standards these days. You've got the nice gaps in the smoke. You can see if you're landing it. That bomb plant offers really few angles to defuse from. You don't have a lot of room to maneuver yourself around the edges of it and get yourself into sort of a different position to defuse it. But the spray takes the wrong man out of the situation. Afro goes down. Crims just braves it, sticks it. Why not? You're 8-0 up, makes it a 9th. OG using another tactical timeout does start to feel like it's too little too late now. Like you said, I'm just not sure what OG have got left to try.
The defuse bait there, the decoy on the defuse, because of course you kill someone while spamming in the exact location you'd expect someone to be defusing. And surely they're both not stood there, right? That is, what a round to win. When I tell you the visceral reaction I had there. But fnatic, as you said, is everything's going their way. Sun is shining on them today. And OG, the economy on the T side just allows them to keep trying to force into this. But unfortunately, it's not particularly working. Kristen is going to eat a nade and a half there. And Afro, he's boosted up, he's posted up on this angle, gets the first, backs away, has Crims just to keep sure that he gets away safely. Blame F's got one on the other side as well. Crims is burning alive, however. Flash doesn't quite know that he stood in the fire, however. Is going to be saved by that smoke coming on through, and now Body, if he peeks this at the right time. Unfortunately, everyone has cleared out of canals now, but does have a handle on the situation, funneled over towards A, where they've already watched so many of their fellow players die.
It's a nice setup now for the CT side. Afro well posted in towards the connector. Crims, he's got the util to stall this one out. Knows he's just got to play the timing, play the angles. Afro might get a bit too keen here. Nope, never mind. He still hits his shot. Crims goes 1 for 1, but that's all you realistically needed of your side player there. Afro last up, and he's just feeling it now. They really are just enjoying themselves in the server. fnatic. It's actually quite nice to see. Makes a change. And at 10-0 up, who can blame them? OG just don't have the firepower to compete with this lineup at the minute. It's an unfortunate one, and especially in the context of, you know, potentially qualifying to IEM Rio. This is a really new OG roster. Lots of young talent. It would have been great to see them kind of get that sort of experience, but sometimes I think you've just got to accept that it is a hurdle too far, and barring a pretty miraculous turnaround here, it is looking that way for OG. I mean, maybe if they can skim these last couple rounds towards the back end of this first half, it gives them at least something to build off. Second half pistol converts, and you can kind of see the way through, but they really are running out of opportunities to make an impression here on Anubis.
Yeah, Crim's out in the open. If they can get the pick on him, that leaves the site, I say, a little bit weaker. Actually, you've got Blame F and Afro looking in mid, not too far away. So quick on the rotate as well. Flash is going to call that Molotov on out. Crim's just going to hunker down backside. I say going to hunker down backside. Actually trying to take the fight to them. Does go down, but already has that support we said from mid. And they're just picking them up, knocking them down one by one here. Afro still going, spots the leg, isn't even phased by the nade. Going to be a little bit of a distraction there for Blame F to peek round, but it's Mattis that gets the kill instead. And fnatic on 11 going into the final round of the half.
Yeah, they're just queuing up for it now. They are literally just queuing up to get their kills to boost the stats. It's getting a bit unfortunate. Again, it's just a nice play from fnatic. They are just doing the simple things right, and they just have the firepower to make that connection and work it. It's not anything particularly smart. There's some nicely timed flashbangs at the very least, but it's not taking anything particularly spectacular. For OG, the ideas are kind of falling a little bit flat now as well. We've not seen perhaps a slightly more complex take on a round to try and force fnatic into a mistimed rotation, get someone on the wrong side at the wrong time. It's all been fairly direct, and it's not looking like we're going to change the plan on that too much here. They certainly seem to feel like they were maybe a kill or two away from making something happen with that A site take, because they're going for the exact same again, and it is almost to the letter a replica of what happened previously. Crims this time can't get the molly out instantly. It's a little bit later than expected, but he's still here. He's still kicking, and it's carbon copy, except this time Crims isn't even going to go down. 3 kills from the rifle. Crism does very well and actually will double his account, which opens up potentially the timing for a plant. He wants to toy with it. He wants to go through that smoke. Won't do so initially, but that's just going to draw Fiku right into the crosshairs here. Last man up, Crism. He's close to heaven. He does well to get one, but the trade is immediate. It's pretty instantaneous. And well, 12-0. What can you say?
They're even going for the team damage here as well. That's the half. That's it. 12-0 is where we left off, and 12-0 is where we will pick back up this pistol round. All that stands between OG and elimination from IEM Rio fnatic, all they have to do is one more round to keep this run alive and to secure themselves a very tasty 13-0 scoreline here. But can they do it? Let's head into the pistol round. We all remember how the last one went. Blame F just mowing down on those dual Berettas. Does history repeat itself?
It's going to be fast towards B again. It's going to be the same situation, and Body has just opened up onto the first. He's gone burst fire here. Matty will at least trade the death when he tries something a little too cheeky. There has been one kill on the backstab already, and with two players headed in fast, they've got to get control of sight here, fnatic, and that's exactly what they do. Matty deals with the temple player in Fiku. Krisen will catch Blame F, just not quite aware of his angles, but still into the 2-on-2. The P250 spam from Afro won't quite land, and Krisen will hit his headshot. It's not going to be my first 13-0 in CS2 commentary. It's going to be a first round on the board for OG. And it's something. It's a little bit of positivity.
That is a light at the end of the tunnel now. 11 more rounds to go to bring it back and to bring it to overtime. But the game is still going. That is all they needed to do. Unfortunately for them, however, fnatic got the bomb down. So that is enough money to try force the issue and try stop them getting any further rounds off the back of this as well. But of course, if there is any way to get back into this game, it would be that pistol round. But now the buy, it's a little bit messy. Of course, CT economy doesn't allow you to really have necessarily the greatest buy on that second round, but hopefully it's enough to work with. They're having a little bit of a look towards E-Box, and actually fnatic, they're happy just to be a little bit patient at the start.
Knowing that while they lack in utility, they arguably have the firepower advantage. It's not a bad call. Just wait, bleed the util. Courtesy of nothing but clock running down. They've taken the mid control here. Just putting a couple of warning shots in towards Buzz's position. And this A split is feeling very, very powerful. There is going to be a counterplay, aggression out of B main, which should reasonably be heard by Matties here. He should be able to call exactly what's happening. And you can see the reaction starting to come through almost immediately. Crims is working his way back up T stairs, looking for these flanking players. It's going to be a game of timings on this. Lovely shot from Crims. Body, meanwhile, has managed to rip one open. He's gone all the way through Temple, background Speedway. Fiku, while he rescues a kill, is not going to be able to rescue this B-bomb site onto the fan. Matties wants this kill, and the spray down combined with Crims will find it. Modo and Buzz left in the unenviable position of trying to stitch this 2v4 together. Afro having absolutely none of it, and that will be the job done. They lose one round, but that is going to be all they lose. fnatic making it look pretty damn simple at the end of the day.
Absolutely, a masterclass there as well. And necessarily, I don't even think it was always fnatic being on top form. The reads were really good. The fire